Michael, please have a seat. Have a seat. It's good that you came in. There were just a few questions we needed to ask you. I mean, I'm sure an intelligent fellow like you understands. We have to be very thorough in our investigations, and after all, you were Sarah's neighbor. And, well, we're interviewing all of the neighbors, so we appreciate the fact that you came in, Michael. Hmm? Oh, no. You're not under arrest. I mean, after all, we're interviewing all of Sarah's neighbors. I mean, what happened to her was simply brutal, and the only reason why you're here is the same reason we're interviewing all of her neighbors, to eliminate suspects, make our job easier. Well, no, I'm sorry. Did I say suspects? I meant potential suspects. Yes. You see, we have to interview all of the neighbors, including you, to see if maybe we missed a possible witness or a potential suspect. Yes. Now, how long have you been living at that motel? Mm-hmm. 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 Well, Michael, no offense. We know that you've served your country and you've hit on hard times. Heck, everyone who stays long-term residency at that motel has hit on hard times. Sarah Williams, for example, her husband cheated on her, left her, and somehow he got custody of their kid. Well, I mean, he could afford a much better divorce attorney than she could. I mean, that's a heck of a thing, wouldn't you agree? Young mother, married, she thinks everything's good. Her husband cheats on her, and then they don't even get to talk about it. They don't get to work things out. He just leaves her, takes their kid, shacks up with that whore that he cheated with. I mean, Michael, that's a really messed up thing. I guess that long-term residency motel on the outskirts of town is the best she could do. The best all of the neighbors could do. Now, Michael, I mean, after all, my police captain is aware of the fact that there are druggies and unsavourable people living there. I mean, if we thought you were a suspect, you'd be in handcuffs by now, Michael. I mean, seriously. We know you served your country in the Navy. Your father served our country in the Army, yes, during Vietnam. It must have been a heck of a thing. Yeah. I mean, speaking of Vietnam, a lot of the troops there, I mean, especially early on when the M16 was forced down their throats, darn things would jam constantly. They didn't even come with cleaning kits. You had guys trying to clean those chambers with paintbrushes, and one, there's a rather famous photo of an infantryman, a young black man, trying to clean out his M16 with a paintbrush. I mean, they didn't even come with proper cleaning kits, which is so ridiculous. And your father was issued one of those early M16s, wasn't he? Yeah. And how about that bayonet? A lot of the soldiers, yeah, they thought, well, at least we have a bayonet. We can use it at base camp for a bunch of chores. And turns out the darn things weren't even heat treated. They just looked like knives, and you couldn't do much with them, could you? Yeah, your father found that out the hard way, didn't he, Michael? And I guess before your mother left him, she sent over something in a care package. He asked for a really good folding knife that he could carry in one of the pockets so that his commanding officer wouldn't notice. Yeah. And he carried that for most of the war until he came back, but the war came back with him. Didn't it, Michael? Well, I mean, I'm not trying to stir up bad memories for you, Michael. I mean, he came back, he was a changed man, and your mother divorced him, took you with her. You resented her, didn't you? Well, when your father, that motorcycle accident on that rainy day, you didn't inherit much from him, did you? But you did get that very useful folding knife that your mother sent him when he was serving his country. Yeah. This one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, don't get upset, Michael. We did execute a search warrant for your apartment. Yeah. Hate to say it, but someone dropped a dime on you. Well, sorry to say, but you tend to talk a lot when you've had a few drinks in you. Yeah, you tend to open up with pretty much anyone at the bar. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't get upset. I know how much this thing means to you. You do realize they make brass polish, right? You could clean this thing up. Maybe, I don't know, they probably make some sort of compound for the wooden scales. Clean that up as well. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little gritty, but yeah, it opens up. Yeah. Now, what does that say there? Let me get a closer look. Oh, yeah. Schrade Uncle Henry. Now, this was back when Schrade was actually Schrade and not some piss poor made in China junk. Let's put the Schrade name on it because we bought it. That sort of thing. Yeah. Unfortunately, Michael, like your father, the original Schrade company that made this is gone. Yeah, and I mean, I can see how you ground a tip onto here. Lots of scratch marks on the blade. Mhm. Blade is a little bit shorter than it should be, but still locks up good and tight. Like I said, they do make modern day brass polish, and there's probably something out there for the wooden scales. Although, yeah, cleaning inside is a bit difficult, isn't it, Michael? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lots of gunk on the inside where the blade folds up. These things were pretty ubiquitous during your father's time in Vietnam. Yeah, mid 70s, just before the war ended. Yeah. I'm a little surprised that you didn't clean it up. I mean, didn't you try to take this with you when you were serving in the Navy? Mm-hmm. 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 But they wouldn't let you, huh? No, they wouldn't let you take it with you. Your dad used this thing in Vietnam for probably so many cutting chores. Although, yeah, I doubt he used it for slitting throats or anything like that. Yeah. Here's your knife, Michael. Yeah. Partially serrated. Mm-hmm. Partially serrated blade. Semi-soft molded rubberized handle. Yeah. That's yours. That's what the Navy forced you to buy. Head to the PX and buy it. And you resented them for it. They wouldn't let you use your father's knife, but I mean, you ended up in the Navy. They didn't issue you a knife. You had a multi-tool, but you also had an obnoxious commanding officer who said, you have to have one. Go to the PX and buy it, and you did. Or I guess the Navy equivalent of the PX. I never served myself, Michael. Yeah, they forced you to buy this thing, even though you didn't need it. And what happened? Well, it looks practically brand new because it is. The day after you bought it, you got injured, didn't you? Yes. And the Navy sent you home, and they made sure to include the knife. Did they give you any medals, Michael? Now that's surprising, because considering your service to your country, you would expect that they'd give you a lot more than just that one particular medal. I mean, you certainly earned it. But that's all they gave you. And even though you had an honorable discharge, you were supposed to get an increase in rank before you got injured. But then you got injured, so you didn't get that increase in rank. Yeah. And all those benefits, that you should have gotten from the VA with that increase in rank didn't happen. No. They just gave you what? Yeah. What was your rank? Wow. I'm surprised. Didn't you get passed over a few times? Anger issues? Then again, when you're serving your country, and, well, anger issues. You'd think the Navy would be happy to have someone like you, someone patriotic, someone with a patriotic father. But they wouldn't even let you bring your father's knife to use during your service. It's a perfectly good knife. Sure, the tip snapped and you reprofiled it, but who cares? It's a perfectly good knife. Served your father well during his tour in Vietnam. Could have served you as well. But yeah, no private weapons or personal weapons. Wasn't that the rule in Vietnam as well? Yeah. That's why your father wanted a folding knife, so he could fold it up and hide it away in a pocket in case those damn COs came a-looking. It helped get him through the war. Just a good, locking, classic utility knife. But your father is gone now, and Schrade, the real Schrade, is gone too. Filed for bankruptcy many years ago. That's unfortunate. Sometimes old-fashioned items are best, aren't they, Michael? Well, sometimes new items can be useful. Oh, this thing? Well, it's one of those newfangled microscopes. They make us carry them around so we can take a closer look at things. And when one of your drinking buddies mentioned that you were bragging about killing Sarah because she turned you down, and she not only turned you down, but she ridiculed you, she got angry at you. After all, it's not your fault you got injured while you were in the Navy. It's not your fault your face looks like that, Michael. In some cultures, women love a man with scars on his face. Not kidding. There are cultures where a man with scars on his face, yeah, that's a mark of honor. That's a man who's seen things, done things. Pathetic, cowardly little boys don't have scars on their faces, do they, Michael? No. Men have scars. Yeah. Men have scars. She shouldn't have made fun of you. She shouldn't have said those things. My apologies, Michael, for the squeaky chair. We're on a tight budget in this department. But she made fun of you. And you just had enough, didn't you? Honestly, Michael, one of your drinking buddies mentioned the fact that you got drunk and you were bragging about how you taught her a lesson regarding respect. Well, it's kind of hard for a dead person to learn a lesson, if they end up dead immediately afterwards. Yeah. I don't know, Michael. Maybe you should have used the knife that you were forced to buy when you were in the Navy. Or maybe you should have just told her to go to hell and walked out. Instead, yeah. It doesn't even lock open with a click anymore. Yeah. This thing needs a good cleaning. The blade itself is fine. Who cares if it's got scratches on it? But yeah, some nice brass polish, maybe some sort of wood polish or wood cleaner. Yeah. But inside, that's where we found trace evidence. Yeah. Trace evidence of blood matching Sarah's blood type. Well, here's the problem, Michael. Turns out that Sarah's blood type was AB negative, extremely rare. Not the absolute rarest blood type. Apparently, there's one significantly rarer than that. Maybe a dozen people in the whole wide world have it, but that's an abnormality. Yeah. Sarah's blood type, AB negative. That's what we found on the inside because, it is pretty difficult to clean the inside of these things. It's not like it's an open pillar design. Yeah. I don't know, Michael. You tell me. I don't think your father would be happy to find out that you used his favorite knife because, like I said, pocket microscopes. It's funny how you can, it's funny how you can miss something. And it's funny how powerful these little things are. Yeah. Well, I used it to find trace evidence of blood inside the handle of your father's knife. Then we had the blood analyzed. Michael, you're going to want to talk to me. Maybe there are extenuating circumstances. Well, honestly, I'm willing to listen. Mm-hmm.